Hey everybody, you are Supreme Toys here with another special action figure review, 34 years in the making. Now this is a very special review for me because we have here NECA's Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Triceraton Zog. Now the package is beat up all to heck. There's a bust in the window. It's been crushed and bent and folded. I don't know what happened because the shipping box I got it in was perfectly fine. So this came pre-damaged from Target. So I appreciate that, Target. But I'm just grateful I was able to get one. I've been consistently checking my local Targets to see if they would have any of these actually in stock. They have not, at this point, stocked any Zogs. I found everything else related to the Holothon, but no Zogs. So I'm glad I was able to at least get it. I'm not keeping him in the package. I have been excited to get this guy since they revealed him last year. And he just looks so amazing. I had a nerdgasm when when they showed him on display. I believe it was at the San Diego Comic-Con. I had this comic book when I was a kid, and I still have it. This is my original issue. So this is book 20 from 1989 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Zog is a prominent character in this issue. I was always confused because, as most people, I was familiar with the action figures first before I knew anything about the comics. So my first introduction to any Triceraton was the action figure version of Triceraton. So when I actually got a hold of this comic book a few years after that toy came out, so I probably got this around 92. Being used to the toys and the cartoon and even the Archie comics before I was familiar with these, I just could not believe the difference in design style from the Triceraton I was familiar with. Now Zog here does not look exactly like the cover art. He is more in style with the actual in-book art that we see. I think that's a pretty good shot of him right there holding up the ceiling. And I just remember reading this issue over and over again. So here we are, 34 years later, a proper released Zog. I never thought we'd ever get anything like this. He's just, in the package, he's gorgeous. The package is trashed, of course, but I love this art on the side, the art on the front. Love that little Zog. This is a beautiful piece of art right here. If I could get a capture of this picture, I would use this as a cell phone screen saver. And of course, we have the action figure in motion on the back. We're not going to hesitate anymore. We're going to just get this guy out of the package. Okay, we got our beefy Zog out of the box, and I gotta say, he looks amazing. Yet again, NECA is just knocking everything they do out of the park. Look at these skin details. Look at the paint fade from the beak to the face and then to the actual fins on the head. It's just so beautiful. The little highlights bringing to life that comic book looking style. He's just a big chunk of plastic, and he's glorious. Look at these sculpts on the hands and the skin textures, all the little pockets, everything. I can't stop. This is just NECA. You're killing it. You're killing it. I love you guys. Look at these little feet, these little stompy feet. This guy is just awesome. He comes with his tail right here. Now, I'm a little bit not too much of a fan of the tail because this is a bendable tail, so there's a wire on the inside and you would bend it accordingly. I would have just preferred a solid tail, but I don't know. It's a little bit extra if you feel like putting some motion in the tail. The tail will plug into the back right here. Nice and snug. The paint details on this guy are just so amazing. I can't even stop looking at him. All right, he's got head articulation. Look at that. Come on. We got this giant, massive dinosaur, and his head articulation is outstanding. Yet, I got to keep throwing Super 7 under the bus. We can't even get a guy to look up straight. Ah, my gosh. He's got this open mouth with a tongue. The tongue is actually separately articulated. Oh, come on. You're kidding me. Look at that. It's on its own little ball joint. So you can move his tongue around. That's insane. And it looks good too. It's not like deterrent. There's one issue right there. His mouth wants to fall open a little bit. That is one negative. It wasn't doing that before. Maybe you could move the tail to... So yeah, his mouth wants to stay open sometimes. You can probably get it and push it in and get it to stay. But alright, he has this amazing waist articulation. Again, this big, giant, beefy guy has an amazing amount of waist articulation. That bobble is perfect. We could have used something like this on a lot of other figures from a certain particular company. His arm articulation, the arms are a little bit loose. The shoulder is kind of wobbly, but he does have that shoulder hinge and rotation. It comes up pretty high. He has the bicep swivel, which is tight. He's got the elbow, which for as chunky as he is, kind of gets a 90 degree. Can't lie about that. He's got the hinge and swivel wrist. And this is all the same over on the other side. Yeah. Amazing. Alright, now the thighs. This is probably where we're going to see an issue. Let's see. Well, for as big as he is, he can do pretty good. Wow. This waist is a softer plastic, so it kind of does not hinder the articulation. Now, what about the knee? The knee, you're not going to get a lot out of the knee. That's about as much as you're going to get out of the knee. I knew that there would be a weak spot somewhere in articulation, and it seems to be the knee. His feet are on a rocker and a hinge, but be very careful as these ankles are very tight. You do not want to break that peg trying to move him. You might want to heat these feet up. Yeah, those are very tight. And of course, all this is mimicked over to the other side. Yeah. Even still, this guy is literally a monster. Accessories. Unnecessary amount of accessories in my opinion, but I'm not complaining. He has 2 fists, he has 2 gripping hands, and he has 2 graspy hands. And he has the 2 open hands in the package. He comes with a giant knife, which looks pretty good. I love the design. It's very simplistic, yet it looks like something from the issue. And then he comes with his laser blasting Triceraton rifle. This is a soft rubber strap that is connected to it, so you shouldn't have any issues moving that out the way for posability. If you look in the issue, you can see him wielding both that knife and that gun, and they look pretty accurate to me. The comic version's horns are a little bit more turned up. They are pretty accurate as far as having the bandage on the horn. You'll also notice that he has a few grenades on his little bandolier here. They're not present here, but he comes with 3 different kinds of grenades that you can actually slip into his bandolier. There's a little spot here that is not glued on the front, so you can slide the grenades in. I don't think I like that. I probably won't display him like that because the rest of the strap is glued into place. Let's swap out his hands, see how easy that is. I gotta give him a big handshake. I'm definitely gonna give him both of his weapons. Those hands are tight. I think this is supposed to be his trigger finger actually, so let's see. Is that? Oh, that's backwards. Yeah. I gotta say, doesn't really. The gun is firm in the hand, but it doesn't exactly like feel like it fits in there correctly. But we'll pop it on, see how hard this is to get on. Not hard at all. So he's got a little laser gun. Let's see if he can hold his little bayonet. His machete. And he can. Oh, knocked it out. This guy is fantastic. This guy. I never thought we would ever get this guy. It never occurred to me that NECA would actually get this far in their Turtles lines, and I could not be happier with this guy. Any flaws he might have are insignificant compared to how amazing he looks and feels in the hand. And this is just a glorious shelf piece. If you like dinosaurs, humanoid dinosaurs, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in general, I don't care what you collect, this guy is awesome. There's no reason for you to not try to get one if they're readily available. Unfortunately, I fear they might not be readily available because they were scalped pretty heavily right out of the gate. First, let's see how tall he is. He's as bulky as he is. He's surprisingly not as tall as you would think. He is still right at that 7.5-inch mark, which is night and day when compared to his little Triceraton buddy. Probably hands down my most played with and most favorite Ninja Turtles figure when I was a kid, right next to the Turtles themselves. This Triceraton figure, I've loved him. This is my original. I still have him. As you can see, he's full of play and love. His horns are all worn. And he's just still... this guy's going to be with me as long as I can possibly keep him. As you can see, he was somewhat designed after the Mirage version. He even has a little bandage on his horn. But yeah, love Triceratons. I did not like the animated version Triceratons, though. I did skip out on those from NECA. Here's the Archie version of Slash. He is quite sizable in comparison. I think they're pretty good size compared to each other. We'll bring in Muckman, and they are pretty much the same level of bulkiness. Zog is definitely heftier, but they're roughly the same scale. So he fits in pretty good, I think, as far as scale-wise with the Super 7 Turtles, but not so much with design, of course. So personally, I think Zog here is an excellent shelf filler. He will fit in with just about any type of display. He just looks so amazing. He's very imposing. He's gloriously painted. He's gloriously detailed. Again, my only gripe is how nasty this tail kind of looks. But you know what? I'm not going to be looking at the tail. He's going to be facing me out on the shelf. I am going to move whatever I have to move in order to make sure he's on display. I could not be happier with what NECA did with this design. I would like to see a black and white variant. I'm pretty sure they will do that. If they do, I will buy another one. I like variants, but I love this character. Unfortunately, the issue I showed you, they actually kill him in, which is kind of lame. But I just can't. Look, he's even got his little Triceraton symbol on his shoulder and his wrist. This guy is amazing. This guy is amazing. He is just a heavy chunk of figure. When it comes to his heft, I think immediately of some of the Marvel Select action figures, like the Giant Juggernaut and Thing figures. So he's definitely a beast to be reckoned with. He was $50. He is going for 2 to 3 times that on the aftermarket. So I would say be patient. NECA has been hearing the fans when these types of figures get scalped up. They at some point tend to do a secondary pre-order later down the line. And I'm pretty confident that most people who missed out on him in the first batch will get a second chance. So don't go beat yourself up if you miss out on him. He will come back. I have no doubt about that. This is closer to the price of a Super 7 figure, but the quality is so much better than a Super 7 figure, which is still roughly, for this scale, at this point, is probably $65. But this was a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage version of Triceraton Zog from NECA Toys. And I am UR Supreme Toys. Thank you so much for watching.